when the only notion constant is change, when information is obtainable with a single click of the mouse or a tap of a screen, humans seem to be at the center of it all, making them in sync with the changes, in constant motion. This is not limited to those living in cities whose hands seldom part with their gadgets. In rural areas, the innovations and discoveries in technologies are used to ease lives and bridge gaps in knowledge, skills, and practices. With the new knowledge and information being created, reproduced, and shared at a rapid pace, people constantly need to retool themselves to keep up with continuously changing work requirements. In today's digital age, people need to learn how to learn and learn anywhere and anytime. The University of the Philippines Open University, the fifth constituent unit of the University of the Philippines system, provides opportunities for people to pursue further studies through open and distance e-learning. In February 23, 1995, the University of the Philippines Open University was established. It is mandated to provide Filipinos all over the world wider access to quality higher education through open and distance e-learning, or ODEL. UPOU now offers various degree programs to learners located in more than 70 countries all over the world. These programs are under the Faculty of Education, the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies, and the Faculty of Management and Development Studies. UPOU also offers continuing education courses and massive open and distance e-learning courses. UPOU uses various information and communication technologies, computer programs and applications to deliver instructional content and connect teachers and learners all over the world. Now more than ever, UPOU continues to transcend borders and break barriers through constant generation of knowledge and open exchange of ideas. It persistently tries new mechanisms to reach a larger number of learners. It perseveres in mentoring learners who shall be change agents, equipped to participate in the co-creation of knowledge for the benefit of Filipino communities everywhere. True to its mission, UPOU shall continue to reinvent itself to provide 21st century education in an increasingly open world.
The UPOU Networks is the repository of educational resources that are produced by the University of the Philippines Open University. The UPOU Networks has the following sections: UPOU Commons, UPOU Live, and UPOU Mix. The UPOU Commons contains open educational resources in different formats, including videos on various topics. UPOU Commons also has On Record, which contains podcast or audio stream version of the videos. Publications has e-journals, books and coffee table books, monograph series, and resource-based course package. All the educational resources in UPOU Commons have the Creative Commons license. UPOU Live features the webinars and university events streamed on real time. It has the online chat that gives viewers the chance to interact with the featured speakers. UPOU Mix, on the other hand, contains multimedia productions of the university that are copyrighted. To access UPOU networks, go to networks.upou.edu.ph.
Hello po everyone. Welcome po for this afternoon's masterclass. This will be the first masterclass this year. I'm M. Zamoloza, your MC for this afternoon, and I'm delighted to introduce my co-host, Pau Bautista. Pau?
Hello po, good afternoon. Hello po, everyone.
Okay, mukhang medyo na dead air tayo doon, ano, Pao? But anyway, so medyo magkalayo kasi kami ni Pao. I'm sorry for that. So today we're diving into the fascinating world of artificial intelligence or AI. If you have joined us in our previous masterclass sessions, I'm sure you already know the drill. So we'll be doing this for those new attendees. So, Pau, let's take a look at our participants. So, let's give them a sneak peek at what they can expect this afternoon.
So it will be a pleasure po, Doc M. So our participants shall get ready to be inspired in today's masterclass as we have three incredible individuals leading us through this event. So first, we have a resource speaker, Dr. Gabriel Avelino San Pedro, Assistant Professor at the UP Open University, who will share with us the topic, Meet Your New Log Partner, AI as a Research Assistant in Data Science. So along with him, we have also invited two distinguished individuals, not only in UPOU, who will make this session truly engaging. So we have with us Dr. Reynald Adrian Pugoy, Associate Professor and Director of the UPOU ICTDO, who will serve as today's reactant, and Dr. Alexander Flor, Professor Emeritus of the UPOU, who will be moderating this event.
Yeah, hello po, Doc Chino, Doc Rain, and Sir Sandy. We are excited to hear your insights and expertise in a short while. But for now, medyo magdi-disclaimer lang po muna ako. So the thoughts, opinions, and ideas expressed by our speakers do not necessarily reflect those of the university. So we encourage all our participants to form their own perspectives, and for all our students at FICS, always follow the guidelines set by your faculty in charge.
Doc Ems, this afternoon po, parang maraming interested sa topic na AI. Kasi just before we went live, we had an impressive 805 registered participants and we're still counting as of now.
Yeah, it's still moving actually, as I've checked it a while ago. So you're right, Pau. So today's topic has truly sparked a lot of interest. I just checked the registration sheet. I can see the numbers talagang it's still climbing. So let's take a moment to acknowledge the affiliations of our participants, which are being displayed on the screen right now.
We apologize for that we can't read all of the institution's name due to the overwhelming number of registrations. But in addition to our students, our alumni, and faculty, we have participants joining us from Amihan Animation Studio, Batangas State University, Central Mindanao University, Centris, De La Salle University, Department of Information and Communications Technology, very timely, Information Technology and Business Process Management, University of Mindanao, and VocTech Academy.
Yeah, most of them pa, mga suki na natin yan. So we also have participants from Department of Education and of course various state universities and colleges, hindi sila nawawala sa mga master class natin. And from other UP constituent units.
We also want po to give a shout out to those joining us via Facebook Live, YouTube, and UPOU networks. Welcome po everyone. We encourage all of you to actively participate in today's lecture. So just please feel free to send your questions and comments through the chat box po or comment section wherever you're streaming right now.
Okay, so with that, let's kick off this exciting event. It's my pleasure, as always, to introduce one of the co-proponents, my co-proponent actually, behind the FICS Masterclass Lecture Series. Mr. Jerry Donato is a current DCOM student and the entertainment sub-editor of the Philippine Star. He brings a wealth experience as the former president of the UPOU Alumni Foundation Incorporated. He is here with us to give a few words about the FICS Masterclass Lecture Series. Sir Jerry, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm loud and clear from your end. You can hear me, I hope. Okay. Good afternoon again, everyone, and welcome to the first masterclass for the year. Allow me to say something briefly about the lecture. Masterclass is a series of lectures to be given by experts and academics from the fields of development communication, mass communication, and communication. It continues the tradition that thinkers have started, that is giving public expert discussions. It features a thought leader who will share his or her expertise on a given topic with the participants. A thought leader teaches concepts related to the topic and provides practical uses to the context of the participants. The entire lecture will be recorded for posterity, and it will be shared with other communities of scholars and learners. Masterclass intends to preserve and capture the knowledge of thought leaders for future reference and usage. UP Professor Emeritus and UP Scientist Dr. Felix Librero, and UP Professor Emeritus and UP Scientist Dr. Alexander Flor were the first ever thought leaders of the lecture series. Again, good afternoon to all.
Thank you, Sir Jerry. It's always nice to hear how the FICS Masterclass got its start. So thank you so much for that, Sir Jerry. Before I go on introduce our moderator for today, I'll just read some of the some chats here. I think we also have Irene Rivera from Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies Online. What's this? Peb Palawan High School, Carmen, North Cotabato. Wow, as far as that. From TESDA, Davao Oriental Polytechnic Institute, we also have participants from there. And of course, as near as Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina, we also have participants. Okay, so now please allow us to introduce our moderator for today, formerly the UPOU Vice Chancellor for Research and Development. Dr. Alexander G. Flor was the founding dean of the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies. He also served as a professor of strategic communication at the UPLB College of Development Communication. Dr. Flor has authored several publications in various fields such as development communication, knowledge management, ethnovideography, and environmental communication. Apart from his academic pursuits, Dr. Flor has also worked as a consultant for various development agencies and governments in 16, but I think right now it's more than 16 countries. Some of his affiliations include the East-West Center Association, the New York Academy of Sciences, and the American Association for the Advancement of Science. One of the advisors and thought leaders of the FICS Masterclass, Professor Emeritus Dr. Alexander G. Flor. Sir Sandy, you can now.
Maraming salamat, Ems. Good afternoon, everybody. Jerry, it's good to see you again. Ems and Pal, thank you very much. Ems, your volume is a little bit off, I think you should increase your volume a little. You must have noticed in my voice that it's a bit hoarse. Yesterday, I had a meeting at the Department of Health, and upon returning home, I started having these fevers. Now, I don't think I caught the bug there, I don't think it's serious, but nevertheless, please bear with this hoarse voice right now. Now, is my audio good? Is my image is the image that you're looking at okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. It's loud and clear at sana hindi ka
Yeah, okay.
kung COVID man yan.
Okay. So, I wore a mask. Anyway, let me go on. Let me see. Yes, the master class. I just want to say a few things about my predecessor. Prior to 2022,
the moderator of this master class was Professor Emeritus and university scientist Dr. Felix Librero. And I would just like to mention that this month or last month, or this year in particular marks the second year of his passing, and we miss Dr. Librero's wit and skill in facilitating discussions of this nature. No, he could engage in a mental sword fight with anybody very productively, and I'm sure that Ems and our other colleagues would agree with me. Okay, now just as an introduction to this particular master class, the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies of the UP Open University is a wellspring of thought on information and communication technologies, new information and communication technologies, digital media ecologies, and so on. And we usually, or these things usually surface in our chat room. Nowadays, one of the more recurring topics in the faculty's chat room is AI, particularly when the grading period started in May, no? And most of us have been confronted with ChatGPT generated student submissions for marking. ChatGPT was introduced almost 15 months ago in March, I think. And along with that introduction was a news item that it, meaning ChatGPT, a large language model, has been applied and had successfully hurdled the Japanese medical board examinations, setting off alarm bells in academic circles as well as professional associations. Imagine a large language model being applied to a professional examination. Okay. Now, Pao has raised her hand. Is there anything that you need to tell me, Pao?
No po, sir. Sorry.
Okay,
Everything.
yeah. Okay, so let me proceed. This news item generated a global conversation on artificial intelligence, intellectual property, job security, and the changing professional scene, specifically when the competencies demanded from today's workforce. Well, the university did its share of organizing talks featuring thought leaders, our homegrown thought leaders, who, interestingly enough, identified ethics, as the critical issue. I disagree with that particular perspective because it just throws a blanket concern over our coders, programmers, AI developers, many of whom come from this university, and just saying that, or concluding that there is an ethical, they are ethically insufficient, so to speak, when we know very well that one of the required courses, let's say in our diploma in computer science program, is an ethics course, computer ethics. We cannot say that this is true in the case of our graduates in particular. Yeah. Well, our constituent unit, the UP Open University, made more concrete moves rather than just talking about it. No? One of our guests for this afternoon, Dr. Rain Pugoy, initiated or made concrete moves in articulating a policy on incorporating large language models in our pedagogies and in our assessment. So these are very concrete. However, the conversation usually eventually faded until the second semester's grading time crunch, when students who have had enough opportunities to try out ChatGPT, the free versions, students from the undergraduate level to the doctorate level started applying it, maybe because of forces of circumstances, beating deadlines and so on, started applying it on their requirements. Hindi ko sinasabing lahat ay gumawa nito, no? Maybe just a minority, but still we are confronted with that issue. How do we assess this? How do we deal with this? So hence the chatter. But as the Jesuits say, acta non verba, deeds not words. What are we going to do about it? Are we just going to chat about it in our in Google chat, or are we going to do something concrete about it? Well, in our undergraduate course right now, MMS 112, that is Multimedia and Society, we have initiated an experiment wherein we are requiring all of its 270 students to engage a personal tutor, no? A chat GPT tutor. This is now, it's not really a requirement because you don't have to do this. But each and every one of the students that we have, of course, this is with the concurrence of our program chair, Dr. Emily Amolosa. We will be trying this out. Each of them will be engaged, or well, they will be downloading free versions of ChatGPT, and they will be engaging a personal ChatGPT tutor, no, to assist them in the following tasks: summarizing, comparing and contrasting, enumerating more or less the mechanical things that require that eat up a lot of the students' time, but then marking or their requirements as well as the marking of their requirements will then have to change. Okay, we will have to list down new competencies, new indicators for assessment, and this is why the experiment is going on right now. And this is to address this AI conundrum head on. Okay. But we're not only doing this in terms of instruction. This afternoon, we have with us as one of our speakers, our first speakers, uh, a recognized scholar, Dr. Gabriel Avelino San Pedro, whom we know as Gino, who serves as an assistant professor in the Diploma in Computer Science program of the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies of UPOU. And he has, at his very young age, I mean, this person is really young, guys, no? He has dynamic contributions to engineering and education. Gino holds a PhD in IT convergence engineering from Kumo National Institute of Technology in Korea, if I'm not mistaken. And he specializes in machine learning, embedded systems, and automation engineering. So Dr. San Pedro has founded multiple ventures, including the Philippine Coding Camp and Certify Ed. In the academe, his substantive research experience and passion for technology education significantly contribute to his affiliated institutions like UPOU, FICS, and he has widely published in top-tier journals. And Gino has integrated the theoretical insights and practical implementations, influencing both academe and the technological landscape. So, my dear colleagues, please welcome Dr. Gabriel Gino San Pedro.
Thank you very much, Dr. Flor, for that very interesting talk regarding AI and as well as the introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. I believe my screen is being shared now.
Yes, Doc Gina.
Okay. All right. So for For my talk today, it's going to be entitled Meet Your New Lab Partner, AI as a Research Assistant in Data Science. So my talk today might be quite controversial, as some people might think of using ChatGPT as cheating, but I hope my talk today will inspire more conversation regarding this issue and maybe give you a different perspective of this issue. So before I start my talk, I'd like to share this short serendipity. So it's a quote from Larry Page. Artificial intelligence would be the ultimate version of Google, the ultimate search engine that would understand everything on the web. It would understand exactly what you wanted, and it would give you the right thing. We're nowhere near doing that now. However, we can't get incrementally closer to that, and that is basically what we work on. So I forgot what year Larry Page said this, but surprise, we're here today where AI, where ChatGPT can actually be the next Google. Whatever it is that you want to know, you can actually ask ChatGPT, and it most likely, well, there's a good chance that it will actually give you the correct answer. So hopefully this talk today will inspire you and show you the different perspectives in using AI, which I believe is just a tool. So we can use it for good, we can use it for bad, and part of my discussion would also be ethical usage. So for the agenda for today's talk, I'll first talk about what AI is, give you a brief explanation of how it works, what it is all about, and then I'll talk about the different uses of AI, specifically in research. AI can be used as your development partner, as your data science partner, and even your research partner. I'll also discuss different ethical considerations, dependencies, future prospects, as well as final thoughts on this matter. So first, let's talk about what AI is. So instead of doing a Google search on what AI is all about, I asked ChatGPT, what is artificial intelligence? And ChatGPT 4.40 responded, AI or artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are designed to think and act like humans. These machines are programmed to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as learning, problem solving, reasoning, understanding natural language, and recognizing patterns. So interestingly, ChatGPT or artificial intelligence in general is meant to simulate human intelligence. The way we think is pretty much the basis on how AI was designed. So AI was actually designed to think like humans. And it has really evolved to what it is today. As mentioned earlier by Professor Flor, ChatGPT was even used to ace Japanese medical exams, which is quite alarming, and maybe it can also be an eye opener if we look at it in a different perspective. Is the way that we are giving examinations correct? Is this the approach that we want, or maybe should we be testing other aspects instead of theory? So these are the things to probably ponder about. So AI has drastically changed. AI began and it started even in the early 1942. So it was basically a simple mechanical calculating machine built by Blaise Pascal, and it now has evolved into what it is today. AI was as simple as you challenging an AI opponent in chess. And it's even a subject right now offered in a lot of universities. At UPOU, we actually have courses related to AI. It's pretty much a given course to offer, especially for universities that wish to be progressive, universities that want to keep up with the times. And this, interestingly, there's also a university right now that's even looking to launch its first BS AI program. So we can actually see the evolution of AI. And one of the earliest encounters I've had with AI was playing on my phone, chess. So AI, again, it was designed to think like humans. It was designed to create decisions based on my move. So the AI's next move will be based on whatever it is that I do in chess. And AI has evolved. It used to be pretty much an if-else problem, but it became more complicated than that. And it even evolved to doing much more complex tasks. So this right here in the image that you see is Mushio. It uh, a couple years ago, I was working with a company called AKA AI. It's a Korean company that actually designed this robot. So this robot, Museo, is being used by Japanese and Korean students to learn English. So instead of hiring an English tutor, the kids get to talk to a robot and talk to it and learn English. So we actually developed the data used to train this robot. So again, it is meant to teach English to non-native speakers using conversation. So now that AI has really evolved, we now have a lot of tools at our disposal. Some of these tools are things like ChatGPT, Gemini, Microsoft Pilot, Anthropic's Claude, Jasper, and even IBM Watson. So there are a lot of players out there. It used to be, well, ChatGPT was one of the earliest, I believe, and then a lot of companies have started offering their own solutions as well. So how does AI work? So AI works by us providing inputs and then the system basically learning. So to simplify things, let's try to recall the way we learned when we were kids. When we were kids, we barely knew how to talk. So we only learned about what apples and donuts are by seeing them. So oftentimes when we were kids, we were presented with different images of apples, different images of donuts, and then slowly we tried to extract information from that, and we tried to slowly understand what makes an apple, what makes a donut. So similarly, machines, AI systems are taught similarly. So imagine the development of an AI system, of a machine learning system that recognizes cats and dogs. So in order to build a system like that, you would need a bunch of images of cats and teach your system to understand what exactly is a cat. So you present your system with images of cats, as well as different images of dogs. Your system tries to extract certain features from that. Let's say try to look at the whiskers, ears, what are the different elements that make up a cat? What are the different elements that make up a dog? So we're extracting features, building a model, and then slowly we try to understand and learn what a cat is and what a dog is. So now that we have a brief knowledge of AI, let's talk about how AI can help us, especially in research. So one of the main uses of AI nowadays would be in development. So AI can actually be your dev partner, your partner in developing, your partner in coding. So in programming, we're usually given problems like this. Given the grade point system on the right, calculate the grade of a student. So we're given different grade point averages, different equivalences, different descriptions, and we're asked to create a program that if you give the percentage, it will give you the grade point average. So old school, if you want to do this, you would have to create an if-else statement, if-else statements. But nowadays, you can actually ask ChatGPT to create a program that solves the problem as is. So when I fed this image to ChatGPT, it actually gave me this. ChatGPT pretty much did all the hard work for me. So some of you might think it's scary, but again, it will depend on your perspective of things. You might think that, oh no, ChatGPT will be replacing coders. So interestingly, I actually had a chat with my professor in Korea a week ago, and we've been discussing how our laboratory in South Korea started to invest in ChatGPT. I even asked if it was for paper writing, as not all the lab members are native English speakers. Interestingly, my professor told me that no, they invested in ChatGPT to help our researchers code. So a lot of lab members now use ChatGPT for coding. It can be quite frustrating if we think that our future programmers rely too much on ChatGPT. But if you think about it, do we really want innovators or do we want code monkeys? So code monkey is actually a term, well, kind of derogatory, but it's used for those who plainly just code without thinking. You're given a task, you're basically like a robot. You're given a task, you're given like a use case, and you have to solve that problem and code it. So interestingly, ChatGPT pretty much replaced the code monkeys. Also, recently I joined Block Dojo, which is a venture builder that invests in idea stage startups. So I actually wondered about the whole setup. If it was a huge risk, since most of the founders in the program weren't really tech people. They were just a bunch of people with ideas. And investing in them, isn't that a huge risk? That's initially what I thought. And then I got to talk to the organizers, and apparently they were really more interested in ideas than tech, as developers can easily be hired. And in the same way, development can easily be passed on to code monkeys. It can easily be passed on to tools like ChatGPT. So there are a lot of platforms out there that allow us to outsource execution of product development. And these things are a bit more technical, and amazingly right now it can be done by ChatGPT. Of course, with human intervention, of course, because it's not perfect yet. But even if we believe that ChatGPT can later replace coders or even like the junior level developers, it can be quite scary. But if you think about it, it might make sense because at least you get to focus on other things like idea generation. And these are things that AI cannot really replace. So you can always hire a bunch of coders, but it will be much more difficult to hire someone to create an idea. So as educators, we might also have to rethink our approach, given that all these new tech can be used to our advantage. So aside from ChatGPT, there are actually different tools out there used for coding. So in using AI as your development partner, there is also this tool called GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot, I'll be sharing a video. I hope you can hear it. So in this video right here, you can see how AI can actually be used to provide codes. So you simply just need to give the system what you want, your requirements. How do I design a responsive layout in Primer? And then GitHub Copilot provides you even the code later on. So there's a lot of opportunity and potential in this part, as AI can amazingly be used for coding. Create a new button component, type it in this tool, GitHub Copilot, and it actually provides you the exact codes that you need. It saves you a lot of time because as developers, if we don't know something, we'd often resort to Googling it. And we'll scroll through hundreds of pages to find the right solution. But right now, with AI, we can easily generate these things. We can easily ask Copilot as well to do things like finding out latest issues and even integrating it with different tools. So AI is not just it is used right now to generate code snippets and even entire functions. So there are a lot of tools out there, not just ChatGPT. There's again Copilot and other cases out there. So aside from generating code, AI can also be used to review code for best practices and standards. So we can actually feed our code to different AI platforms and identify potential bugs, vulnerabilities, and so on. So example of the different tools out there for coding would be Deepcode, Sync, and CodeGuru. Also, AI can also be used for testing. So whenever we perform testing, we usually resort to automated testing. AI can now create test case based on code changes. So we can use AI to do functional testing of our different programs. So these AI tools can include TestSim as well as Applet tools. So we can actually see how AI helps us save a lot of time, even on tasks like programming, which can be quite repetitive. So given that we have a lot of load taken off our backs, we can now focus on things that AI can never do. So with all these tools of development, we can focus on just being creative. we can now think of different solutions and get the help of AI in the development process. Because in coding, you spend a lot of time ideating, designing your program, and even a lot more time in coding. With ChatGPT helping you out, you can focus more on the design phase, which is something ChatGPT cannot do. Next is AI as your data science partner. There's this tool.
Get AI in.
So when talking about using AI as our lab partner, there are many tools that we can use for data science. Again, ChatGPT is also one. That's one of the most popular tools. But there's also other tools out there like AlterX. So you'll learn more about AlterX in this video and see its different potentials.
Analytics that give you the power of an enterprise-grade solution with the ease of a spreadsheet. Welcome to the Alteryx AI platform for enterprise analytics. Break down data silos with drag and drop ease by creating a unified view of your data with over 100 built-in connectors. Drag and drop pre-built tools to transform, clean, and prepare your data for analysis. Or write your own custom code, all within an easy-to-use self-service UI. Let Aiden, the Alteryx AI engine, help you along the way with AI-powered suggestions. Built for technical and non-technical users, Alteryx shows you not only what happened, but also predicts what may happen next. It presents the factors that affect your goals and makes understanding trends simple. Generative AI provides use case discovery and rapid prototyping. This saves time and manual work, getting you from data to answer faster than ever. And with Alteryx, your data is not just powerful, it's protected with embedded enterprise-grade security and governance. Let Aiden be your guide as you forecast trends, build machine learning models, and inform your business strategies. Even non-technical users can get hands-on with education mode and AI built in. Join more than 8,000 customers and over 500,000 community members to improve revenue performance, manage costs, and mitigate risk. The future of analytics is here.
You'll actually be surprised. A lot of companies now really invest in AI. So as you've seen, a lot of big name companies even invested in Alteryx. So in terms of data science, a lot of coding is involved. So in data science, AI can actually do so many things to speed up the process. So for in one part of data science is actually data cleaning. So right now, you can actually feed ChatGPT with your data set and even ask it to do things like make your data much more uniform, spot errors, fill in certain gaps. These housekeeping tasks that would require a lot of time, a lot of attention, now can be done by ChatGPT. It can be done by AI. So again, it would all still depend on the way that we prompt. I actually use this in analyzing certain sheets, and there will be times, of course, that it's not perfect and analyzing each and every cell might be quite difficult. So we have AI tools right now, and it would all depend on the prompt. So it would boil down basically to prompt engineering. So simply put it, our jobs right now would include making instructions for AI to be much more clear and precise instead of actually coding itself. We're evolving to this new era. Aside from this, we can also use ChatGPT or AI in general to create charts and diagrams. Since AI systems can do Python, we can create matplot-like diagrams for presenting data. So interestingly, when it comes to companies, a lot of companies hire data scientists. And these data scientists try to understand different graphs and present them to stakeholders. Now that stakeholders can easily use ChatGPT, we can now generate these graphs easily without much coding. So again, we can now focus more on what matters, like decision making. We can also focus more on idea generation, and of course, ease up the tasks of our existing data scientists. AI can also create predictive models as well as classification models. Again, all of these code snippets that we need. So through that, we can now focus more on scientific productivity. Next will be AI as our research partner. So this can also be quite controversial as a lot of journals out there have even released different statements on the use of AI, if it's allowed or not. A lot of journals have even embraced the use of AI, but of course have provided guidelines for its usage, same as UPOU with its guidelines. So aside from using ChatGPT, there are also other tools out there like Scholarly, which we can use for research, analyzing data, extracting data from different papers, and you will learn about it more in this video.
I need to have a clean desk.
Generally, I light a candle to get my space cleared.
Before I start studying, I always need a cup of coffee, otherwise things aren't going to go well.
Retaining information, remembering it.
I have quite a lot of reading to do.
Finding my sources.
Being a master's student, I have so many courseworks, exams, and research projects going on.
I don't stay back with my learning at all. That's a huge challenge I face.
Like if I'm reading a journal or a book, I can just put that into Scholarly. They'll pick out the key points and I'm then able to transfer them into my assignment.
Scholarly basically does that instantly.
Using the tabular extraction feature, I was able to export them all into the Excel sheet, which made my job very easy. It helped me to understand the key point of the research paper, to summarize the article so it's easier for me to put it into my assignment instead of spending hours and hours reading.
I'll probably go to the bottom.
In this video, you actually saw, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but there was text right here. It also popped up here saying that you can now focus on what's more important. And that's actually the beauty of AI. A lot of tedious tasks are now being done by AI so that we can focus on the more important stuff. We can focus more on designing, coming up with plans, coming up with ideas, things again, AI can never replace. So when we're doing research, we actually do a lot of reading. So when we survey and analyze hundreds of papers, most of the time we don't end up using even half of it. So survey 100 papers, sometimes you're only going to use 10, 25, and that's a lot of time being spent on reading things that you won't even use. So good thing about having AI with us right now, we can easily synthesize papers. We can feed a document, a PDF to ChatGPT and ask it to give us important points, summarize it, ask it if it's related to our study. And from there, if it says it is, that's the only time then that we should read through it. So we can actually use ChatGPT to screen through papers and tell us what to read and what not to read. AI can also be used to extract important information from these sources, different data, different results. And then, especially if you're going to do a survey in the future, you'd have to read hundreds of papers, extract all of their results, and then tabulate them. So this is something we can do now with the help of AI. Aside from that, ChatGPT, AI in general, can be used for grammar checking. There are a lot of authors all over the world whose first language isn't English. And this can, ChatGPT or AI in general, is setting like some sort of equal footing for everyone. It's promoting equality as well. So you have authors from countries like China, wherein the authors have a hard time expressing themselves in English, but they have really great ideas. And right now they can share their ideas with the world through AI. AI helping them translate their work, fixing the grammar, making it easier to read. We have different tools out there like Grammarly, your AI partner for anyone who has work to do. So Grammarly is now being used for proofreading. So imagine before when we had to proofread the work, we usually send it to actual proofreaders. Right now, AI can help us ease up our load. And for proofreaders also use tools like Grammarly so that they can focus on the more important stuff like content. There are also other tools out there like Quillbot. So whenever I write papers, there will be times when I would come across a writer's block. And Quillbot really helps. Quillbot actually has this function that would suggest the next sentence for me. And this would help keep my flow going. Another way Quillbot actually helps is through paraphrasing. So it might sound quite controversial, but Quillbot can paraphrase and help you ease up problems when it comes to plagiarism. So I've authored a lot of papers in machine learning, and in most of these papers, I would have to define certain concepts over and over again, given that I wrote uh, a lot of parts in the introduction. I tend to have a similar structure in terms of writing. So imagine writing 10 papers about ML or AI, you'd have to explain the concept 10 times too. And when you explain something, you tend to use the same words. I mean, it's you writing the same thing over and over again. So you might tend to use certain phrases that may lead to self-plagiarism. So it's something not intentional, but it's just the way you write. You have a certain style and you end up using that style over and over again. And again, you're explaining the same thing over and over again in different papers. So Quillbot can actually be used to paraphrase these things. So there are phrases again that you say over and over again. They may be flagged as plagiarism. And you can use tools like Quillbot to improve your writing and do paraphrasing. So with tasks like proofreading, grammar, structure out of the way, we can again focus on the more important stuff. So in terms of research, it's not all about just writing, it's also part of discovering new things and creating novel work. So despite such, there are still a lot of ethical considerations that we need to think about. So there are many applications of AI, but are all of these correct or not? So later on, I'll also be discussing a framework in a research article related to how we decide whether or not the use of AI is ethical. So AI isn't perfect. So some of the considerations that we have is that AI isn't perfect. There will be times wherein AI will commit a mistake. I remember when ChatGPT was new, it sucked at math. Give it a math problem, it will give you the wrong result. So later it has evolved, but again, we cannot be too reliant on AI. Human intervention is still truly needed. We cannot replace humans. So, so given that AI still commits mistakes, we have to watch out over it. We have to check the responses, of course, before counting it as the truth. So even though we use AI to Google right now, remember, when you still Google, there will be times wherein Google would show you wrong results. In the same way as in AI, ChatGPT can give you the wrong results as well. This year, Google even admitted that its AI overviews tool, which uses AI to respond to search queries and stuff, actually needs improvement. So while the internet search giant said it tested the new features extensively before launching it 2 weeks ago, Google actually acknowledged that the technology produces some odd and erroneous overviews. So examples include using glue to get cheese to stick to pizza or drinking urine to pass kidney stones quickly. So these are things that we really need to watch out for because again, AI isn't perfect. It's made by man and it's still prone to mistakes. So human intervention is truly needed. Also, AI is a model tool. Simply put it learns from our inputs. Given that it learns from our inputs, it can be biased. So everything that we give to ChatGPT is learned by it. So this can also produce erroneous results. And this is actually one issue recently wherein artificial intelligence tends to be biased. It tends to be biased in terms of race. Again, it would only depend on the people who use it. So if a lot of racist people use it, the results tend to be racist as well. It's skewed to think that way. Other ethical considerations to consider in the use of AI would be privacy. So there's still a lot of debate right now as we don't know where our data is stored. When reviewing journal articles, you're often informed that the use of AI is not allowed. So it's not allowed, not because we are being prohibited from using a tool like AI to help us. It's not allowed simply because we don't know where the data is stored. So whenever peer reviewers review work, they review work that isn't published. And feeding it through AI would actually mean giving that sensitive information to AI, something that isn't published before. And again, we have no control on where the data is right now. Another issue right now is in terms of IP. So in terms of IP, there's ongoing debate on who owns things. AI right now can even be used to replicate styles, which tend to be a gray area in the law. And who owns AI generated content as well? It's also something for debate. Is it the AI company? Is it the person who generated it based on results? Again, AI is a result of prompt engineering made by the users of AI. So without user input, there is no output. So who owns it? Also, without the developers of AI, there is no AI. So we can go on, spend days discussing this, but for now, it's pretty much an open debate. So taking a look at things, AI is pretty much just a tool. So you can't really blame a person, you can't blame a gun for killing, but the person who holds it. In the same way as AI can be used for bad, AI can also be used for good. The accountability still lies with humans. We've heard a lot of talks about cheating with ChatGPT. Of course, this is something that isn't ethical. There's still a responsible use in terms of AI. Also, for instructors, professors, we can actually use this as an eye-opener to things. I was having a chat recently with a law professor from University of the Philippines as well. And this lawyer professor actually uses ChatGPT in his class. So it's actually sketchy right now since it was being discussed earlier that students answer essays using ChatGPT, of course, which is obviously wrong, something we shouldn't do. So but in the same time, we also need to embrace the use of AI. So this law professor that I've talked to, he talked about how he used ChatGPT in class. So oftentimes he would give like a problem, a case, and then he would also ask ChatGPT to comment on that case, and then ask the students to comment on the response made by AI. So in this way, we're still promoting the learning process of students, learning from the discussion. And at the same way, we're also embracing the use of AI. So maybe this is something we can pick up too. So there's this framework made by Patrick Bangert, if I pronounce it correctly, discussing the framework on creating ethical AI. So here's actually a simplified discussion of it. So first, we start at the very bottom with a use case. This is pretty much the foundation. So we have to understand first why we are using AI. We need to ensure that the purpose is ethical, aligning with moral values. Again, if we're going to use AI, it should be used for the good. So if we're talking about using AI to cheat an exam, obviously that's wrong. That isn't ethical at all. So if ever we were to use AI for good, then good. Let's move on to the next part of this framework. So now that we understand the use case, we have to set a goal. The goal should also be clear, ethical, and objective for the AI system. After which, we move on to the building blocks. In terms of complexity, we have to understand AI's complexity and how it can be managed. Next would be accuracy, bias, and variance. We have to ensure that AI is accurate, free from biases. I'll be discussing an example later on, so this becomes clearer. And then next would be the hidden variables, identifying any hidden factors that may affect AI's decision. Next, we have to weigh the risks and costs in the decision process to minimize error, to minimize harm. And of course, after developing any system comes lifecycle management, continuous monitoring, explaining the AI actions to users, maintaining ethical standards throughout its use. So this framework actually helps us integrate ethical considerations into every stage of AI development, from the initial idea to its ongoing use. So let's use self-driving cars as an example to explain this framework. So for the use case, our objective of a self-driving car is to ensure that the person moves from point A to B safely. So this is still in accordance with conscience. It's still for the greater good. Therefore, it's still ethical. Next, we have to talk about the goal. So the car's goal should be defined well. The car's goal is to navigate roads safely, avoiding accidents and following traffic rules. Next, we move on to the building blocks. In terms of complexity, we have to consider that the car should handle various driving scenarios such as different weather conditions, unpredicted pedestrian movements, etc. Next, accuracy. In terms of accuracy, the car needs to accurately detect and respond to obstacles. So it will be on the road, it would need to avoid certain things, ensuring that it does not favor certain driving conditions or miss rare events. Everything has to be considered. And later on, we have to consider the hidden variables. So you might have heard a lot of debate relating ethical dilemmas in terms of self-driving cars, like who should you hit in terms of an accident? These are the hidden variables that still need to be considered later on. Next would be the decision support. So in terms of decision support, the system must balance the risks, like deciding the safest route, minimizing the chances of collision, even if it means taking a longer path. And then lastly, life cycle management. Whenever we develop a system, we never develop anything perfect. So we still need to improve it over time, re-update the use case, revisit all aspects, and simply make it better. So now that we have a clear idea of ethical use of AI, let's head on to some final thoughts. So this is actually our future. AI is there. We will actually get here one way or another. It's either we embrace this change or resist it until it's too late. We have to also think that AI is just a tool. AI can be your companion. It's not meant to replace us, it's meant to help us so that we can focus on the more important things. Things like being creative, being innovative. These are things that AI cannot do. Of course, we always have to consider responsible use of AI. You are still the principal investigator or the researcher. You are still the person who comes up with the idea. You're just using AI to help you. And there is actually no gain in prohibition. AI is here to stay. And we really need to learn how to coexist with AI. AI can actually help us as a tool. If we embrace it, it can help us reach new heights. So in everything that we've discussed, there must always be a balance. We must always consider the way we use AI. We have to use AI wisely, balance it with our own skills that are unique to us humans, us innovators, us game changers, us leaders of tomorrow. So with this, I want to end my presentation with these parting words. Be curious, embrace change, and be the change. And I hope you all learned something today. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Gino. I'm sorry, am I supposed to come in at this point?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Right, right. Yeah, very good points raised, Gino. Okay, now, well, we're applying it in instruction, we are applying it in research. Okay, so we've just about covered the three functions or the trilogy of functions of the university. So yes, we're doing our jobs, right? And I think there is more to be said about Dr. San Pedro's presentation. And now I would like to invite the person who will be reacting to this presentation. Allow me to introduce a very accomplished associate professor of the University of the Philippines, Open University, director of the UPOU ICT Development Office. And since 2015, he has been a key figure in academia, specializing in graduate courses or programming languages. Let's see, programming languages and of course artificial intelligence. Hey, Rain's dissertation is on artificial intelligence. Yeah, Dr. Reynald Adrian Pugoy earned his PhD in computer science and information engineering from National Cheng Kung University in Taiwan and was supported by the Taiwan Ministry of Education. Okay. And his research focuses on artificial intelligence, particularly natural language processing, machine learning, and recommender systems in education. Dr. Pugoy has received international recognition, including awards such as the UPOU Gawa Chancellor for Outstanding Faculty and the Asian Association of Open Universities Young Innovator Award Gold Medal. Renowned for his expertise in integrating advanced technologies into e-learning platforms, notably in developing effective learning management systems, Rain's insights into the transformative role of AI in education make him a sought-after expert in edtech and innovation. And actually, Dr. Puga is the author of our policy and guidelines on the use of AI in our pedagogies. Rain, please take it away, as the script says.
Thank you, sir.
Huwag kang aalis, Gino, ha?
Thank you for
Stay
that
there.
very humbling introduction. I'm just gonna share my screen first. Hold on. Wait. This one. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen now. Hold on again. Yeah. So could you all see my screen? I hope you don't see the presenter view. This is the full screen, right? Yeah. So again, thank you again. Good afternoon, and thank you, Dr. Flor, for that very humbling introduction. Yeah, regarding the presentation given by Dr. Gino earlier, I pretty much agree with everything that nearly everything that he has mentioned, and I'm just gonna give deeper focus on some aspects that he has discussed earlier. Basically, I can talk about more about the theory behind AI or generative AI, because I know that there are also misconceptions, and the prior speaker also mentioned that maybe some people are scared regarding AI. And then also, as Dr. Flor has mentioned, we're going to talk a little about the UP principles for trustworthy and responsible AI. Actually, the UP system has released a policy and another guidelines formulated by UPOU. I'm not the author, Dr. Flor. I'm just part of the committee that formulated the UPOU-wide policy. And after that, I will talk about some things that we have to be careful of when we utilize AI. So I'm just gonna skip some of the slides here. And I've been doing this talk for like 20 plus times already, but this should be shorter because most of the details have been given earlier by Dr. San Pedro. Yeah, so again, AI, there are many definitions about AI, and this is my definition of AI. Similarly to what was shared earlier, it's the simulation or replicating human knowledge, and the basis of that human knowledge would be the training data sets. This is the basis. And you can imagine AI to be a computer program that is programmed to learn upon repeated exposure on this massive amounts of data so that it is capable to perform different tasks such as classification, prediction, and generation, such as in ChatGPT with astounding and outstanding accuracy. And the field of AI is really big because I know some people would equate AI to be equal to Gen AI. It's actually not the case. We can consider Gen AI or generative AI to be under AI. And ChatGPT, the publicly renowned or known ChatGPT, was released to the wild, was released for public consumption November 2022. And because of that, this led us to what we call the breakout year of AI last year, 2023. And Gen AI is a type of AI that can, the root word is generate. It can generate new data in different formats, such as textual formats, images, videos, and audio. And again, similarly to what was mentioned earlier, this is made possible by, again, extracting patterns, extracting knowledge from human-provided data that we actually produce on a daily basis, and using the extracted knowledge to generate new outputs. And under Gen AI, we have the large language models. I also know some people confuse is AI equal to LLM or large language models. We can consider LLM to be the grandchild of AI. Again, let me show you here. Again, we have AI, we have Gen AI, and under Gen AI, we have large language models. And large language models are a type of Gen AI that can basically produce text. That's it. You now know the definition of terms regarding AI, Gen AI, and LLM. And we can argue that AI is converging with virtually every aspect of our lives. And according to this online survey given to about 20,000 adults from across 28 different countries, they were asked, how will AI change our lives? And 35% of the respondents indicated that education is a top aspect that will be most likely affected by the rise of AI. And this is also reflected in the statement by UNESCO that AI has the potential to address some of the biggest challenges in education today. And I'm just re-emphasizing certain points shared earlier. So what are our options, not only for educators, but for human beings per se? Do we ban AI altogether because we expect people to misuse it, or we become the bigger persons, we show them the way how to use AI in a more responsible manner? Therefore, my encouragement, and I'd say that this is the persisting theme as far as this afternoon is concerned, right? What we can do is to learn to adopt and adapt and preach the responsible use of AI. And this is the trend in many first world countries such as Taiwan, Korea, or even Singapore. And according to the Singaporean Ministry of Education, AI can be a useful tool when students have mastered basic concepts and thinking skills. Everyone has to be critical thinkers. This is why the Ministry of Education will also equip students with the skills to use AI in a more responsible manner. Now let's touch briefly the UP and UP-OU principles for responsible and trustworthy AI. I believe that this is the first in the country by any Philippine university, approved by the UP Board of Regents August of last year. Well, we don't ban AI, but the challenge here, how can we promote the positive and responsible use of AI and possibly mitigate its negative consequences? Therefore, we have this policy, this UP policy, so that we can provide guardrails and also indicate the way we move forward on the use of and development of AI, not only for UP, but for the entire country as well. And these are the 5 core principles of the UP principles for responsible and trustworthy AI. The first one is common good, that it should benefit the Filipino people. Second one would be empowerment, that it must empower vulnerable and marginalized groups. So it's sort of equalizer, similar to what Dr. San Pedro mentioned earlier. Another one is cultural sensitivity, that it must be, well, this is quite explanatory, right? It must be culturally responsive and sustaining, and cultural values must be respected, hopefully at all times. And another core principle is privacy, that AI systems must incorporate privacy by design principles and also involve the asking of informed consent from users. If ever we decide to employ AI in our respective educational settings. And another one is accountability. Yeah, this was already discussed earlier. I'd say that it's similar to that the use of AI, we must take responsibility for the consequences of our actions. And for UPOU, because as we all know, UPOU is a fully online university, the cyber campus of UP, and we have our own unique set of nuances, our own unique set of situations. Earlier this year, January 2024, we have formulated, I'm part of the committee, all right? I'm not the author, I'm just part of the committee. The committee headed by Vice Chancellor Prime of Academic Affairs, myself as the ICT Director, and Dr. Ricardo Bagarinao as the Director of CODTEL. Because at UPOU, we certainly acknowledge that the convergence of AI in education will transform teaching and learning in our current generation, current age. And we also do believe that AI will play a big part in developing lifelong learning skills amongst our learners. And we know that we are pushing for lifelong learning for everyone. We want to achieve the fourth sustainable development goal, in which everyone would have access to quality education. And let's face it, AI is here to stay. If we don't equip our students, how can they face that post-AI world? How can they live in that AI drowned or AI soaked world? How can they compete with other people who know how to use AI? You know what? I don't believe that AI will replace people, but I believe that people or humans who know how to use AI will replace people who don't know how to use AI. That's it. And sure, in this AI-driven revolution, should we panic? Should we be scared? I argue that the panic surrounding AI is not that different. When the first computers were created, we can imagine there were oppositions against computers because computers would take away jobs. But what happened? We learned to adopt and adapt computers. Also, the internet and even graphing calculators. We just know when to use graphing calculators, right? Maybe in elementary mathematics, you ban calculators, but for college statistics or college mathematics, you can allow, because what is important for college mathematics is how you will choose the particular method, and you will just use calculators to just arrive at the final answer. And I'm going to show you here some interesting screenshots. The first one, this is from a Singaporean news media outlet, the Straits Times, if you are familiar with that. And they said that AI could be a basic job skill soon. And another survey, surveyed leaders, company leaders, and 66% of the leaders mentioned that they wouldn't hire someone without AI skills. And I'm gonna talk briefly about the theory behind generative AI. I believe I have 30 minutes, right? I have 30 minutes for the reaction. Again, just to supplement the points given earlier. Okay, let's move on. The basic premise of large language models, because this is the elephant in the room, so I'm gonna give a little more focus on LLMs. They are trained on ginormous amounts of data, primarily gathered from all across the World Wide Web to understand language. And their way of understanding language, listen to me, their way of understanding language is different from how we understand. We humans, we have human brains, of course, right? But these large language models obviously don't have what? Don't have brains. But it is accurate because of statistics. It learns to extract or discover statistical patterns and relationships between words, sentences, and phrases. And let's talk about the key. Why is it so damn accurate, if I may use that word? Language modeling is just a complicated word for guessing the next word. Let's say, given a sequence of words, AI or the LLM has to accurately guess the next word based on a probability distribution of possible words. And this probability distribution will be learned by AI again during training. And that training is basically exposing your ginormous amounts of data, let's say billions of data, and do that exposure for trillions of times repeatedly. How can it not get accurate with this? That's why LLMs are also referred as autocomplete on steroids. For example, let's say the center of the solar system is the blank. After the training of the language model, let's say that it learned that the probability that the sun is the answer or the next word is 95%. And some wrongful data were included as well and assigned Earth to have 3% probability, so on and so forth. Therefore, do you still think that AI is sentient and has emotions? Because I know some people might be scared with this, but if you're scared with this, it's no different from telling me that statistical probability distributions are emotional as well. So this is not a dangerous magic genie. This is statistics executed on an enormous scale, supported by the advancements made in computing. Now, because we now have advanced computing infrastructure, we now have advanced hardware, which enable the further development of AI. We are witnessing advancements after advancements in just a short span of time. And I agree with this article saying that Gen AI is just advanced automation, not a panacea or an existential threat. Yeah, I agree with this. And I'm not gonna talk about the uses because these were covered already from earlier. There are several uses of AI in education. You can just read that on your own. And then uses of AI in research. I'm not gonna talk about this, but feel free to explore on your own. A quick example here, I've asked Gemini, give me relevant research papers with proper citations presented in a bulleted list. And voila, I got my results. However, we don't stop with this. We still have to do our part because AI, as previously mentioned, it is not always accurate. It is not always correct. Yeah, while we can agree that AI can generate valuable outputs, human expertise and critical thinking are still essential to evaluate and refine those outputs. We have to consider any AI-given suggestions as a starting point, not the final word. Again, we still have to do our part. Again, we're just finding inspiration, starting point, and we still have to do the rest of the hard work. And while AI can increase our work efficiencies, we should treat it as our assistant and not as our replacement. We gotta always review and validate AI-generated content to ensure accuracy. Why so? Because no AI model is actually 100% accurate. Keep that in mind. And now that I mentioned that no AI model is 100% accurate, let's talk about the risks or consequences of AI use. I'm just gonna highlight some points that were discussed from earlier. Again, there are just so many things I can talk about the consequences, but I'm just gonna talk about my personal top 3 or personal top 4, whatever works. Let's talk about the most important one for me. That would be hallucination. hallucination is just a complicated word for making up facts. While hallucination is acceptable or even desirable for any task involving the human imagination, like writing a poem, a short story, or doing some brainstorming, that is perfectly fine because creative tasks would often involve some fabrication, right? Or exploring some hypothetical scenarios. However, when we are dealing with Q&A, with research, with academic content wherein accuracy is of the highest premium, we have to exercise more caution. We have to be skeptical of AI-generated content or information that, again, unlike a broken record, we have to do our part to verify the outputs given to us by AI. Two examples of hallucination here. The first one I've asked, this one is ChatGPT. Who is the 10th chancellor of UPOU? You know what is the hallucination here? UPOU only has 4 chancellors so far. Why is it talking about the 10th chancellor, right? That is hallucination. Another example, I've asked Gemini, who are the deans of UPOU? And the hallucination here, Gemini said that there are 4 faculties of study at UPOU when in fact we only have 3. Faculty of Education, that is accurate or true. FICS, where I belong, that is also existing. FMDS is true, while the 4th one, that is totally fictional. And we gotta keep in mind that AI can be deceptively convincing and confidently wrong. Hold on, like Amarites in a canto. Like, right? I mean, they can be both authoritative or plausible sounding, convincing, grammatically correct, but the content is actually wrong. And the hallucinations from AI can vary in severity. It can range from minor inconsistencies to completely fabricated, contradictory, or even dangerous statements. And keep this again in mind, ChatGPT, Gemini, and the other large language models don't actually know what they are saying. They know what an answer should look like. They know what an answer should sound like, but they are incapable of human-like understanding. I mentioned earlier, a few slides ago, is statistics. The understanding is derived from statistics. That's why these LLMs are also referred as stochastic parrots. They learn to talk like a person, but they don't really understand what they're saying. And this interesting tweet from a certain Carissa Belize, it was mentioned that ChatGPT and the other large language models are the ultimate, the B and the S word. All right, I don't have to say that. The ultimate B and the S word, because they are designed to be plausible and therefore persuasive without no regard for connection to the truth. Another issue that we have to be wary of would be biases and discrimination. Remember that the data used to train AI may be cobbled together or combined together from various web sources, which may contain social, cultural, political, religious, or even gender-based biases. The thing is, whatever biases are present in the training data set, the AI model would inherit or even amplify those biases as well. Therefore, don't be surprised. This is just a quick example. Don't be surprised if LLMs sound Western because they are Western creations trained on predominantly Western data. And an example here, I've asked, this is Gemini. I've asked Gemini, what are the 2 best utensils that we can use for eating? If you are from the West, you would agree with this answer, fork and knife. But if you are a true blue Filipino, your answer is fork and spoon. If you are Taiwanese or Korean, your answer would be chopsticks. Another issue would be data privacy. Have you heard of the expression that data is the new oil? And we're like a broken record. AI is trained on ginormous amounts of data. Unfortunately, they may include some sensitive personal information. An example here, you don't need to raise your hands. This AI yearbook app became viral last year. However, there was this warning from the National Privacy Commission to exercise caution in the utilization of this so-called AI yearbook app. And when this came out, off the top of my head during that moment, I was thinking that people who were using this AI yearbook app were providing their images as training data on a silver platter for the AI yearbook company. So what did you gain? Or what did we gain from this AI yearbook app? More beautiful images, more handsome images, but what did the company behind the AI yearbook app gain? Training data, lots of training data, so that they can further what? Improve their AI model or algorithm. Kumbaga, lugi tayo. Sila lang yung nag-benefit dito. Therefore, my central question to this is, do we want our personal data to be used without our explicit consent, potentially contributing to these AI systems that may not align with our values? Therefore, my suggestions is, we gotta think before we share. Have you heard of the expression or the statement, whatever goes online stays online forever? Carefully consider whatever information we post online, because we just don't know, AI companies might use those to train their AI models. And another thing, never give or never include any personal or sensitive information to the AI tool or AI chatbot. As a quick example, if you are heartbroken and you must write a letter to your ex-girlfriend, you don't need to tell the name of your ex-girlfriend and supply that to the AI tool. Again, my point, never give any personal sensitive information. If you must do something which involves certain persons, then just use the third-person view when you write your prompts or your instructions for the AI model. And another issue would be the detection of AI-generated content. Many prior studies have shown that they're not really effective. I also don't believe them. You know what? In my spare time, I play around with these AI detectors. They're quite easy to fool. And it's just going to be an endless game of cat and mouse. You have your LLMs, which will improve. And after they improve, the AI detector will improve. After the AI detector will improve, the LLM will improve. It's just endless. You know, they're just getting more and more sophisticated. It's endless. And, you know, I've tried this. I generated an AI content and I just changed one word. And when I change only that word, then it passes the AI detection test. The thing is, it's challenging to detect AI generated content if you're gonna automate this, because there is no universal agreement on what constitutes AI written texts. And writing styles vary greatly among humans, and AI is basically trained to simulate or emulate that kind of diversity. And relying on AI detectors would lead to false positives and false negatives, type 1 and type 2 errors. There are many ways. There are many suggestions to deal with AI generated content. And my two favorite ones, I'm not telling you to do this, but you may consider this, and there are other ways, as I mentioned. The first one is you can consider manual benchmarking. If you are an educator, you can ask your students to write about a particular topic at the start of the semester, so that later that semester, if you start suspecting someone to be using AI, then you can compare your baseline, the one your student wrote at the beginning of the semester, and compare that with the suspected word. And another suggestion, which I actually do in my classes, is to institute AI-specific honor code and require my students to accept this honor code. Because prior studies, even before the rise of AI, prior studies have shown that employing honor codes is highly effective in combating academic dishonesty and misconduct. Again, like what Dr. Gino shared earlier, AI is simply a tool. It depends on the person using it. I don't need to discuss about this. And you know what? I've observed that there are two extremes when it comes to attitude towards AI. The leftmost extreme, people saying that AI should be banned, and the rightmost extreme saying that AI is a god. We subscribe to neither extremes, but we promote a more balanced approach that AI, surely it's helpful, but we gotta use it responsibly. And I found this chart regarding the usage of ChatGPT, and I say we can extend this to other AI tools or other Gen AI tools. The question is, when is it safe to use Gen AI? Then you just have to focus on answering three important questions. Does it matter if the output is true? Do you have the expertise or skills to verify if the output is accurate? And are you able and fully willing to take responsibility for any inaccuracies? And final reminders, AI can always hallucinate and generate possible nonsense. Be critical thinkers. Employing any AI tool should always be done with human oversight and guidance. AI return results are not to be treated as gospel truth. And the Terminator, my goodness, the Terminator is extremely unlikely to come. We must resist cynicism and fear about AI. Therefore, we have to be educated about it. That's why we have this master class, so that we are all educated about AI. And UPOU would have a series of programs regarding AI, regarding being educated about AI in the future. And you know what? Those people who are scared due to AI, due to the Terminator, it's just because of whatever we watch in the media, whatever we watch in what? In Netflix, in YouTube, in various literary and cinematic works of science fiction. Yeah, just don't listen to those doomsdayers. All right, and I'm gonna end my presentation with this quotation from Easter Millard. He said, I've been to former students' weddings and baby showers and funerals of their parents. I've hugged my students, I've high-fived my students, I've cried with my students. A computer will never do that. Ever, ever, ever. And with that, I hope you learned something from what I presented. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much, Rain. Well, now we are ready to accept, or I should say, I hope Gino and you are now ready to answer questions. Shall we go straight to the Q&A? Right? And we will do this chronologically. The very first question that was shared to us came from Maria Cristela Lopez. Is using Grammarly and paraphrasing tools like Killbot part of AI identified plagiarism? Professors claim to have an AI detection tool, but how effective is it in avoiding wrongly accusing students of plagiarism by utilizing AI? Even if the student confesses that he utilized the tool for paraphrasing or grammar checks, can we agree on including Grammarly and other tools in the list of references for each paper submitted? Thank you. Okay, shall we go with Gino first? What is your response to this question, Gino?
All right. For the first part, is using and paraphrasing tools like Quillbot part of AI identified plagiarism. It's just a tool. It doesn't plagiarize anything. It depends on how we use it. So if we're gonna use it to paraphrase someone else's work and claim it as our own, then definitely that is plagiarism. But if we're going to use it to improve our writing, then that's a totally different story. So in the second part, professors claim to use AI detection tools. So as mentioned by Professor Rain earlier, AI detection tools aren't really that accurate. Just change one word, the whole thing changes. The results basically change. And sometimes even the way we talk even the way we write, even though it's not generated by AI, it can actually be detected as AI generated. So these tools aren't exactly perfect. If the student confesses that he utilized tools for paraphrasing or grammar checks, okay, can we agree that including Grammarly and other tools should be in the list of references for each paper submitted? Honestly, I don't think so, because usually when we cite works, we're citing something made by other people. So using Grammarly and Quillbot as a reference, I believe it's the same as saying in your references that you used Microsoft Word. So it doesn't, I don't think it makes sense. So that's my take on that.
Okay, thank you, Gino. Ray, your take.
Sir, I couldn't find the question.
Actually, it was the first question that was shared with us. I'm not sure how we could do this, Pao or Ems, or I could just repeat it. Is using Grammarly and paraphrasing tools like Killbot part of AI identified plagiarism? Okay, essentially, uh,
Yeah, yes, sir.
yeah, right.
Right, using AI would be part of AI identified plagiarism. I pretty much agree to the answer given by Dr. Gino. Yeah, because if you think about it, we can all right, we can answer this question in two kinds of attacks. The first one is Quillbot. Its main purpose is to it's to improve the language of the paper, right? And it's no different from asking your mother, your neighbor, could you take a look on my paper? Could you improve it? Could you proofread it? So that is one. Another thing is, another possible answer to that question is, hold on, AI. Is that plagiarism? I really don't think it's plagiarism.
Okay, right. Let me ask you this question. Do you feel it's about time for us to revisit the concept of plagiarism, given the existing technological environment that we find ourselves in? Okay. Now, this I'm sure both Gino and you know about in the industry right now, even in government agencies and in knowledge organizations, papers or documents that are very important in their operations now get processed through AI. They get fed to AI so that it improves the document itself. Things like annual reports, or even project documents, designs. And this is getting to be the standard. By what I mean by standard is this is getting to be widely practiced. Okay. Now, there is no authorship in these papers. No one gets really credit for it or could own it. Okay. But do you feel that something like this should be, I mean, could we train our students in a manner that where there is no disconnect between practice, okay, between industry practice and how we have them craft these documents, and this is the reason why I think perhaps we should revisit the concept of plagiarism itself. When did it begin? What is the context of this being anathema to the work of students? It may be very radical, and I'm sure many of our traditionalists will be squirming in their seats right now, thinking that the ideas that they generate should not at all be stolen. But my question is those ideas that they generate, is it truly their ideas alone? Or did they catch it somewhere else? I mean, could it chances are it would have been inspired by others who came before us, right? Okay. What is your take in that, Gino and Rain? Or Rain first?
All right, sir. Yeah, I agree that we have to what you previously mentioned to revisit the concept of plagiarism. And I'd say that not only the concept of plagiarism, but we have to revisit the overall academic setting or the overall educational setup in our various institutions, because we are witnessing advances after advancements. I'm not only talking about AI, but so many technologies these days. And we have to prepare ourselves how we can respond, because we have this expression in computer science or in IT na mabilis tumanda yung teknolohiya. Let's just say after 6 months, it's an old technology already. We have to be able to respond promptly to whatever revolution, to whatever transformation or ubiquity caused to us by these various technologies. I'd say we can also include AR or VR, AI, all of those technologies which are becoming disruptive these days. So it is important. I would encourage everyone or every education institution represented in this forum, we have to start the conversation. We have to have our own our own setup, our own policies, our own rules, so that we know how to respond to these various technological disruptions.
And we hope, of course, that it just stay as a conversation. That's
Yes,
something productive will come out from it.
definitely.
Now, in Gino's case, Gino mentioned earlier about self-plagiarism, this thing that is actually hovering upon all of us academics. You know, earlier papers that we have published, we cannot actually define terms in the same manner that we have defined it earlier. Since when did that become plagiarism? Can you plagiarize yourself actually? You know, but then this is the case. This is the practice for one reason or another. And maybe the motivation behind that comes from less productive individuals who would want to be very strict in the way things are said or so. What do you think, Gino?
For me, the definition of plagiarism is quite clear. So I also did a quick Google search right now. Plagiarism is defined as the practice of taking someone else's work and ideas and passing them off as one's own. So it's pretty clear.
It's
Long
someone
story
else's, yeah? It's someone else's ideas. How about your ideas?
Yes, actually, long story short, when it comes to plagiarism, we just need to give credit to where it's due. What we need to revisit is the way that we detect plagiarism. So nowadays, we detect plagiarism using tools like Turnitin. And in Turnitin, it basically detects like phrases grouped together, bunch of words grouped together. And is this really the right way of detecting for plagiarism? Yes, it eases up a lot of burden for people who are going to vet these papers. But is this really the right way? Oftentimes, again, whenever we write papers, we write about the same, well, under the same research area over and over again. So we write like 10 papers related to machine learning. And in all of these 10 papers, we have to define machine learning over and over again. And since we're the ones writing it, we tend to define it the same way. Is this really plagiarism? Well, according to Turnitin, yes. But if we take a look at the definition of plagiarism, I don't think so. So it's something we have to consider. We have to revisit the way we detect plagiarism rather than the definition. We have to align the detection method with the actual meaning of plagiarism.
Right, right. And even the use of Turnitin, to me, it's like calibrated plagiarism because, you know, there's a certain percentage that would say or would conclude that your paper is plagiarized. But then if you could bring down that score to the negligible area, then it's okay. So it teaches a plagiarist, you know, to calibrate this practice also. You know, these are, you know, of course, forgive me for sharing that. That's a personal thought, by the way, not a professional one. So let's proceed with the questions. How can researchers ensure that their AI models are unbiased and fair? Rain?
Okay, sir. I'm looking for the question again. How can researchers ensure that their AI models are unbiased and fair? Are you talking about, no, I mean, are you talking about this question on a technical perspective or the end user perspective? Because I can assume that you're talking from a technical perspective. The thing is, again, as I mentioned earlier, whatever biases are present in the training data, the AI model would inherit that, not only inherit that, but to amplify those biases. That is one. And having said so, we can deal with this. If you are a researcher, then if you have the time, you can filter. You can filter your training data set to ensure that biases are removed from that. And another approach that other AI companies do for removing the biases, but not perfect, all right? There is this term which we call reinforcement learning from human feedback, wherein the AI company has hired a team of human judges. Let's say OpenAI, they hired human judges from Kenya, if you have heard of that news article. And these human judges would improve or would assess whether the responses given by AI is accurate or biased or what, so that they can filter that, so that the next time that AI is asked a similar question, they can give more accurate and less biased answer. So I'm again assuming that the asker here is a technical person.
Yeah, okay. Now, let me rephrase this particular questions for Gino. Okay. Now, we spoke of large language models, right? Well, ChatGPT, for instance, uh, well, it's when it started, it was English, right? Only. Although recently it began answering queries with Filipino. I tried that a number of times already, even in Bengali, Indonesia, so on and so forth. But definitely, given the fact that most of the documents in the World Wide Web, which is being scanned by ChatGPT, is in English, then there is a bias towards language patterns in English rather than other languages. So how do we ensure that the output, let's say, of a large language model could eventually be, or could be as fair as possible, given this reality and the way it operates? I'm asking Gino this question.
All right. So when it comes to these things like large language models, we have to also consider that these models learn based from humans. Again, it can be biased. And when it comes to the results of these models, we we shouldn't take these things as the truth. We also need to do our own research. And it's basically all about not really ethical or like proper use of AI. It pretty much boils down to that.
Okay. So what we're saying here is that this is an attribute that is not going away
Yes, sir.
anytime soon. This is part and parcel of AI. We have to accept that bias will always be there. But then, of course, we are hoping that eventually some well, perhaps it's in the prompt engineering side of things, in the way we train these language models, that we get more qualifications, or our queries are more qualified, to prevent these biases. For instance, let's say to ensure that the patterns that would emerge in our questions, or the answers that we're trying to get from this, would reflect also experiences, let's say, from the third world, rather than the first world only, right? But most of the documentation that is available out there, where these large language models are basing their answers, are from the first world, then we could qualify it like in this manner, that what are the experiences in these particular countries and so on. So yeah, perhaps that would be an answer. But I seem to see a hand raised somewhere. Maybe, oh, it's Rain. Go ahead, please, Rain.
Yeah. Just to support your points. Well, there's nothing we can do on our part to reduce the bias because again, biases are inherent in the training data set, and the biases are by extension inherent in the AI model. So we can say that not only the biases, but biases and hallucination are what characteristics, quote unquote, of a large language model. That's why what we are promoting here and what was also mentioned by Dr. Gino is we have to be responsible users. We have to be critical thinkers by whatever answers, whatever outputs we get from AI. That is what we teach, that we have to be skeptical, like what I mentioned earlier, we have to be skeptical of AI generated content, and we still have to do our part. We don't believe everything that AI says. We have to do the rest of the hard work. Because again, as I also mentioned, employing any AI tool should always be done with human guidance, with human oversight. And that is the best way, especially for the end users, to treat whatever biases that might come from AI.
Okay, thank you very much, Rain. That's very well said. Now, can both of you say something more about ethics, this issue of ethics or ethical use? Let's begin with Gino.
Okay. When it comes to ethical use of AI, we have to revisit the reason why we use AI. Of course, if we were to use AI to copy some to copy someone else's work and pass it as our own, then that is definitely unethical. But if we were to use AI just to fix our work in terms of grammar, structure, blah blah blah, then that I believe would be counted as ethical use of AI. So it all boils down on intent and the way we use AI. So uh, there's also an interesting question here about how the university often asks if we use AI. I think we have to revisit this part. Instead of asking if you used AI, because that's pretty much the same way as asking, did you use Microsoft Word to type this thing? Instead, maybe we can revisit that part and transform it into like a statement, like I used AI for this, I used AI for that, and so on, instead of asking people if they just used AI. So we have to be clear on the way that we use AI rather than if we just use AI or not. Because again, it boils down to intent and the way we use it.
Yeah, great. Your answer reminded me of a situation 30 years ago or more than 30 years ago when during comprehensive examinations, doctoral candidates are forbidden, are blocked from bringing their laptops inside the classrooms. But now it's, everybody does that. And the fear was that, they could just refer to notes that are there and their hard disks and so on. But yeah, again, ethics, earlier this afternoon, I said that I had reservations about the focus on ethics because all of our computer science graduates need to take a course on computer ethics. It's an ethics course that is really designed for developers as well as users. And I can never assume, or I can never say that those who develop the software that are being now questioned, are unethical. Perhaps they were influenced by market forces, but I don't think there was never an intention to have these platforms used for unethical purposes. At least that's how I feel. Now, I would just like to read something here, a comment that I think both of you should answer. It came relatively late, no? Just 2 minutes ago. Is it advisable to hold a seminar like this in a public school, since junior high school is one of the, well, it's one of the frontiers in new technology? Guest 112 is asking this question from both of you, and perhaps you might be available to give seminars such as this
Can I
among
answer
junior high
first?
school, senior high school students. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, I would say yes. Yeah, I've been giving AI talks for the past year. And this afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, this is my 22nd. And not only colleges are asking me, but also high school. And the interesting here, when I was first asked the first time I gave an AI talk, it was from a place of what? Place, not really fear, but okay, let's say from a place of fear. But right now, in my latest AI talk, wherein I talk to the educators from senior high school, they now come from a place of acceptance. So it's just interesting to take note of that, turn around, 180-degree turn from a place of fear to a place of acceptance. Because again, AI is here to stay. We have to be educated about AI. Because if we are not educated about it, then how can we deal with whatever might happen or whatever problems that might be associated with AI? How can we respond to AI if we're not educated about it? So I would say, I would encourage you to, uh, which question is it again? I lost
112,
112.
112,
Yeah, yeah.
guest
So
112.
guess
Yeah.
112. I encourage you to hold this kind of seminar, and I'm available to do that because that is also part of our public service of the UP Open
Extension. Yeah.
University. Yeah. Public
Yeah. Correct.
service and extension. Yeah, we love doing that. We love helping everyone because it is part of our mandate as the National University of the Philippines.
Right, Rain. So you share your email address
Sure,
among
sir.
our guests now. And Gino, what is your response?
Well, I share the same sentiments as Prof. Rain. So yes, AI, like all these things, ChatGPT, it's relatively new. And then we really need to educate people on how to use it, proper use, how we can use it, and what we should use it for. So
Okay.
the things are really helpful.
Yeah. So both of you are available, and yeah, you will make yourselves available. Now, as I believe I need to read a portion here or respond to it. It also came out just a minute ago. This one is from Ruth Otter Pilot. Her takeaways from the meeting. The first one is incorporate AI such as ChatGPT as tutor for students in MMS 112 class at UPOU to assist with tasks. Dr. San Pedro. No, actually, Ruth, this is an experiment that Dr. M. Sabalosa and I are implementing beginning this semester on MMS 112. Questions that would be answered, which particular competencies can be assumed by AI and need not be assumed by our students anymore, considering that this is higher education. Okay, let's say the examples that I gave, summaries, compare and contrast, enumeration. These are lower level outcomes, learning outcomes. They ought to be learned in junior and senior high school. Why burden our students with this? And so if not this, you see, these outcomes are still listed down in the curriculum, in our curriculum right now. And this is one of our points, perhaps we need to rethink our competencies, the competencies that we've still identified, the learning outcomes. Since this will not be used, well, chances are these will not be demanded in the world of work anyway, given our technological environment. Okay, formulate guidelines on incorporating large language models and pedagogies and assessments. at UPOU. This is apologies to the committee of Dr. Pugoy. All the while when I received that memo, I thought that he was the author. Okay, so apologies to Dr. Baggy, Dr. Prime, and the other members of the committee. But I would suspect that Rain had a very active hand in putting it together. Now, Ems, I would like to do a time check since it's 5. Shall I turn it over to you? I'm sure the questions have been listed down by Pao and will be shared by both to both Dr. San Pedro and Dr. Pugoy. Right, Ems?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much po. And thanks to all our participants who sent in their questions. So some of them we were not able to answer, but I'm sure the staff have taken note of them. And I'm sure Doc Rain and Doc Gino would be able to help us with those questions later on. So we now have a total of 829 registered participants and around 200 plus Zoom attendees here. We also have participants sa ating Facebook Live. At this point, I would like to recognize some of our participants, Dr. Krina Tanyongan of UP Cebu, our Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration, who also served as one of our thought leaders in the past, Ma'am Jean, Dr. Jean Saludades, our Dean, I hope he's here, Dr. Jago Maranan, our colleagues from FICS, Assistant Profs Joyce Vega, Cecil Moldes, Roda Tahuan, Ms. Shari, and Doc Ria. And of course, as mentioned by Sir Sandy earlier, whenever we have a masterclass, we always remember one of our advisors and pioneer thought leader, Professor Emeritus Felix Librera. So, Sir Lex, belated happy birthday. We dedicate this masterclass to you. For our FD attendees, thank you, Mr. Raymond Lipanog, Ms. Abby Telan, Danielle Labanza Miraflores. Thank you. And now it's time for awarding the certificates. Pao?
Yes po. We'd like to present the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Alexander Flor. So please allow me to read the citation. So this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Dr. Alexander Flor for his invaluable contribution as a moderator during the FICS Masterclass on Meet Your New Lab Partner, AI as a Research Assistant in Data Science, live streamed on 21 June 2024 via networks.upou.edu.ph.
Thank you, Sir Sandy. As always, palaging handang mag-moderator sa ating masterclass. Next.
Next po would be for Dr. Reynald Adrian Pugoy. So this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Dr. Reynald Adrian Pugoy for his invaluable contribution as a reactant during the FICS Masterclass on Meet Your New Lab Partner, AI as a Research Assistant in Data Science, live streamed on 21 June 2024 via networks.upou.edu.ph.
Thank you so much, Doc Rain. We're grateful for you being able to squeeze this masterclass in your very tight schedule. Kanina lang magkasama tayo sa meeting.
Yes
Thank you,
po, ma'am.
Dr. Thank you.
Thank you rin po.
And then last but not the least po, we have Dr. Gabriel Avelino San Pedro. So this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Dr. Gabriel Avelino San Pedro for his invaluable contribution as the resource speaker during the FICS Masterclass on Meet Your New Lab Partner AIS Research Assistant in Data Science, live streamed on 21 June 2024 via networks.upou.edu.ph.
Thank you so much, Doc Gino. I'm sure our participants have gained a lot of insights from your talk. We'll see more of you, hopefully, and also Sir Rain in the future. So, okay, at this point, let me acknowledge the people behind the scenes from FICS, of course, Pao. It's her first time to lead the masterclass, pero wala tayong problema. Ang galing. And of course, Rachel, Jenny, Jem, Daryl, Joy, Jerome, thank you. Thank you so much for your hard work. From the UPOU Cadell Educational Media Production Team, Sir Baggy, Sir Lexter, Alex, Alan, Dan, and Wax. Thank you. Pao?
Please let us know po how we did and help us improve the conduct of future events. So kindly evaluate this event through the site indicated on the screen or by scanning po the QR code. Please be advised po that this evaluation form will be open and available until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, June 26. And then certificates of participation will automatically be sent to those who accomplish the evaluation form. This will be sent to those who are able to answer at least 6 out of the 10 questions correctly. So please answer for the evaluation form so you can get your certificates. And then due to the number of participants, so there may be some delays in processing your certificates, but please give us at least 3 working days before you follow up. We will respond within 3 business days. And then for future FICS masterclass and lectures and other FICS events, please follow and like our Facebook page, UPOU FICS, or you may scan for the QR code on your screen.
Yeah, for our technical staff, I don't think they can see the evaluation form, please. Please flash it on the screen. Are you done, Pao? Okay, thank you for that. Pao?
Yes po. And then before we conclude our webinar, we'd like to take a few moments for some photo ops. So could everyone please open your cameras and give us their best smiles? Ate Joy, can you take over from here?
Okay. Okay po. Please, paki-open po lang ating mga video.
Yan yung expertise ni Joy, eh, no?
Okay po. Okay. Marami pa pong hindi naka-on ang video.
No,
Oh.
open to open. Sad, okay.
Okay po. Sige
So
po.
that's it.
Picture na lang po. Okay. Sige, 1, 2, 3, smile. Wait lang po, page 1 pa lang. Okay.
People are seeing you.
Okay po. Wait
Okay.
lang po. 1, 2, 3.
I'm seeing your head here.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Any other words?
Jerry, bye-bye. Rain,
Hi,
Gino,
sir.
Paul, and Ems. Thank you.
Bye po.
Okay, so what's our takeaway? As Doc Rain emphasized,